Hi, I'm Alexis, the owner and designer at MergeAndCenter, an Etsy shop that specializes in Google Sheets templates. Today I'm going to show you this simple timeline. This is a template to help you create a chronological timeline. It's especially useful if you're undertaking a project where you need to piece together a narrative, but your source material is out of order, or maybe it's being discovered in bits and pieces. I created this tool for a friend of mine who was preparing a podcast series based on a person's life. She and I had looked for timeline tools online and found most existing options were a lot more complicated and robust than what she really needed. So if you want to create a timeline without a bunch of bells and whistles, this is the tool for you. Let me show you how it works. There are two timelines here. There's the editable timeline at the top and the chronological timeline at the bottom. The way this works is you're going to add your events and dates in the editable timeline above, in no particular order. You don't need to worry about ordering them. When you enter them, you don't need to worry about entering columns between columns in order to get them in the right order. You're just going to add those events and dates as you come across them. And then the chronological timeline below is going to order everything for you from oldest to newest. So let me show you what that might look like by adding a few dates in here. Okay, so I've added some dates in here in no particular order. I've got a 2023 date, which as of this recording is actually in the future, but we'll roll with it. 2022 date, 2016, and 1999. And as you can see in the chronological timeline below, they are ordered from oldest to newest. One thing to note about the dates here is that they're good for single dates, but when it comes to an event that lasts months or years where you're talking about a range, what you're going to want to do is enter the single date for when that event started, and then just note it in the event cell below that your event started on that date, and then add a second date and event for when that event ended. So that's how you would deal with a date range in this very simple timeline tool. When I created this, I knew that my friend who was using it for podcasting was going to be referring to it as she was talking about it, and that the editable timeline might be a little bit confusing since it's out of order and it's on the top and very visible. So you can actually collapse the editable timeline. Just to the left of row 2, there's a collapse icon. It's a little minus sign in a square. And if you click on that, it will collapse the editable timeline so that you can focus on the chronological timeline, whether you're talking about it on a podcast or maybe writing about it. There's a notes section for miscellaneous notes here. And there's also a resources section down here with some tutorials, as well as the tutorial that you're watching now, and a feedback and suggestion box if you have any feedback on the tool. The last thing I will point out about this tool is that there are two sheets here. There is the timeline sheet, and there's a clean timeline, which is exactly the same and just comes blank like this. The purpose of the clean timeline is just for you to create duplicates from a clean version. So let's say you're using this timeline for a school project and you don't want to have to delete out everything that you have, but you want to reuse it. You can just go to the clean timeline and duplicate it. And the way that you do that is you'll right click on that clean timeline tab and then select duplicate. You can also right click and rename any of your sheets. And you can click and drag on those tabs to reorder your sheets. So that's it for the simple timeline tool. It's, as implied, very simple and a clean interface. I hope it's very useful to you in your project, whether that's writing your memoir or using it for homework or history research or whatever your application might be for a simple digital timeline creator. Thank you so much for purchasing the Simple Timeline, and have a wonderful day.